Hello, friends. Welcome back from my day off. Had a nice trip to New York City. Was able to see some friends that I hadn't seen, and some of them in 20 years. It was a group that we met. One of the people I met when I was an intern at a place called Olive Jar Animation Studios in Boston in 96. And everyone else I met at MTV on a little show called Celebrity Deathmatch, where we worked. And some of them I've worked with on and off and seen around, but a couple people, it's been a while. So not only do days off interrupt my drawing, but this guy here, I may have mentioned him before, that's Sawyer. He was not a fan of me working today. He was not a fan of me going to work, which I understand. And he was not a fan of me doing work and drawing today. At some point I should draw him. Anyway, after a long while, telling him that everything was going to be okay, I was finally able to convince him to let me do a little bit of work. And he likes to keep an eye on me, so he'll go lay down on the floor. So today's prompt is from the Dungeons and Dragons prompt list. The D&D Drawtober. Day 25, Monster. Monster is interesting. There are so many. I feel like, and of course it's always true, there are monsters all around us all the time. Sometimes they're easy to spot, and sometimes they're not. So yeah, a lot of my friends from they were my friends from Celebrity Deathmatch days. One friend, I didn't meet him on Deathmatch. I'd already left, but then I met him years later on Robot Chicken. Actually, there are two guys that, that I missed them on Celebrity Deathmatch. I was only there for about a year. It seemed like a lot longer. That was a crazy time. And then, but stop motion community is very small. A lot of good people. If you're in it, you almost are guaranteed to meet eventually everyone, just about. at least in your country, travel now is not the easiest. Although, a side note, um, hasn't been posted here yet because it's it'll be up on this website before Halloween. But the film that I worked on with my friend Fitz, Halloween Visitation, is going to be in a small film festival in England. Don't think I can make it to that one for Halloween. So that's cool. Um, there were a few mostly free festivals that we submitted to. They're all just Halloween themed. It's it's only 30 seconds, and I feel like the shelf life is pretty short. It's basically Halloween. So here we are, and there it goes. So as you can see with this drawing, there is a pile of a human, leftovers, remains, on a slab. Being worked on by someone. And I don't know. At this point, it doesn't feel like the intent is quite clear what's going on. But hopefully one can assume that the man overseeing this carcass is probably up to no good. So my intent is to let you decide who is the monster. Is it the experiment? Or is it the man conducting the experiment? It's probably both. Although you may have more sympathy for the monster who has no control over itself or understanding of what's going on. Looks like he's in pretty rough shape, so you might be able to pardon his lapse in judgment. But it was good to see my friends. I'll have to figure out some sort of trip back out west. Check out LA. Make sure it's still there. Seems like it could vary week to week if it's how it's doing. So, or maybe go visit Portland. I haven't been to Portland in a long time. My oldest daughter was born in Portland, and she doesn't remember it. So, I barely remember it myself. I was too busy taking care of a baby. So, there are a lot of people I know out in both places. And a lot of people I haven't talked to in quite a while. Maybe I'm the monster. That's kind of that's one of the interesting things with stop motion is, I mean, maybe not so much now. It's pretty well centrally located in LA or Portland, those two places. So I've known plenty of people to bounce between the two. But there was a while it was like, oh, I'm going back to New York City. Oh, I'm going back to Portland. Oh, I'm going to LA. You can imagine that would get pretty tiring for a family. So it made sense to leave. I had every intention of going back. But here we are. 6 years later. And doing all right. Funny how things go. Maybe the scientist thinks he's doing the right thing, not knowing there's really no way back once it starts. Maybe he thinks everything will be fine. I mean, that is quite a feat. If you could fix people in this state, maybe it's all for the best. Maybe his intentions were fair. Just lacking a little in execution. So tell me, my friends, what are your monsters? Is it the landlady? The next door neighbor? Your coworker who always eats your lunch? Or is it everyone in the commute on your way to and from work that just can't seem to get out of your way? Well, think about it. Let me know down in the comments and tell your friends, and be safe out there. Some of us are expecting weather. And I'll see you soon. Goodbye.